Hello and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. In this video I'd like to give you guys an update on my Ficus Benjamina Bonsai here. So as you can see, it's grown quite a lot since the last video. What I really need to do in this video is take off a lot of the wires because we've had a lot of sunny warm weather recently, being summertime, and actually this summer has been a lot better than a lot of previous ones, so this put on quite a lot of growth and the stem's been thickening up quite a lot, and that's meant that some of these metal bonsai wires are now starting to dig into the stem, so I need to take them off before they leave scarring. I'll show you an example of what happened last year. You can see here, same problem happened last year. I left it too long and there's kind of like this spiral effect of scars along the stem. So I'm going to try and avoid that this year. Hopefully I caught it soon enough. But I'll show you some examples of how I can see that it's grown quite quickly this year and much better than the previous years. You can see here on the bark, hopefully it shows up okay on the camera, that there's some green starting to show and some splits in the bark. That just shows me that the stem is definitely thickening up. There's a lot of thickening occurring on the stem, which is a good sign. Same with this root down here. You can see that kind of green colour coming out from the splits in it. So I'm quite happy that the main trunk is thickening up, because that's what I wanted to happen. And of course, the thicker the main trunk, the more aged and older the plant looks. Right, and the other branches are all thickening well. You can see here I actually had to move this wire a bit recently because that was cutting in, and a lot of the other wires are starting to cut in as well. Also, some of the old scars are starting to heal over, which is nice. So there's one just here. You can see that one there. It's just starting to heal over. That was quite a big scar, so it's going to take probably a couple of years, but you can see the bark is starting to roll over the scar and start to heal it over, so that's quite a good sign as well that it's doing well. So as I say, I'll take all the wires off. I'll see what the branch structure is, and then I'll decide if it needs any pruning or if it needs any more wiring. So there we are, that's all the wires taken off. As you can see by this really large bundle in my hand, there was a huge number of wires I had on the tree for training. So I think I'll leave it now. I'll let the branches kind of relax, go back to their natural state and have a look at what the branches are like, and then I'll decide if I want to wire it again. I mean, I've had this with wires on pretty much constantly for probably about 2 years now, maybe a year and a half. Every time I've taken the wires off, I then straight away rewired it there and then. So I'm just going to let the branches kind of naturally do their own thing. What I suspect will happen is some of these will take off as leaders, because there's often one that tries and takes off as a leader. Even if it's arched now, it will straighten itself up. But I'm quite happy with how it looks. And another reason why I'm going to leave it to grow a lot more, not really do any pruning at this stage, is the more you let the branches grow, the more branches there are and more vegetation there is on the plant, the more it's going to thicken up its trunk and its stems. So I'm going to let it grow quite a bit this time before I prune it. Ideally, if I wanted to make this look more like a bonsai, then I would shorten a lot of these branches and cut it back quite hard to try and get it into more of a compact shape. And that would also make the branches appear thicker because they're shorter. They just kind of looks like more like a thicker branch. But I'm going to leave it, as I say, so it can really put on a lot more girth to the trunks. So I'm quite happy with the overall stem structure that I've created with the wiring. And what I was going for is basically I wanted the main branches to come up and then curve down. So I'll see if I can find one which is the perfect example of what I was looking for. It's probably this one here. You can see it curving up and then it curves down. Ideally I'd hope you put curving a little bit more down, but I'm quite happy with the branch structure. And there's plenty of new shoots starting to come from further inside on the main branches. That gives me a lot of choice in the future if I want to do any future pruning. And it's really, yep, lots of leaves, lots of healthy growth. So I'm very happy with that at the moment. I'll just quickly check the roots, see how they're doing. You can see there, it's pretty pot bound. I could probably do with a bit of root pruning at some point to get rid of some of these thicker roots, especially down here. You can see it's really quite thick. That's with this main one coming off from the side. And there's another thick one in there. But generally I'm going to leave it for now. The reason being, again, I don't want to stunt the growth at this stage. I want to really keep it growing quite strong so that I can thicken up the trunk further. And as you can see, it is getting quite a nice structure there. I've got these smaller lower branches here, and then they get bigger as they go up, like a natural tree. You have very small branches at the bottom, bigger ones kind of further up, and then the ends of the big ones at the top, they're obviously going to small finer branches again. So I'm just going to have a careful look now, see if there's anything I'd like to cut off at this stage, anything that's maybe becoming a bit too vigorous, or anything that's kind of growing in a direction I don't want. I don't think there's much really. Quite happy with it, to be honest. So yeah, I think I'll leave that as that. So there we are. That's my Ficus Benjamina Bonsai update. As you can see, it's grown a huge amount, a lot of leaves. So I'll probably leave it now for the rest of the summer. Let it put on loads of growth, get quite large. It won't look much like a bonsai, but as I say, that'll help thicken up the trunk and all the stems. And then towards the middle of summer, or later in summer, I'll give it quite a hard prune, and that'll make it look much more like a bonsai. It'll also get a better proportion, and just it'll help it when it regrows, that I can select which branches I want to keep, which ones I want to get rid of, which ones I want to produce more side branching and things like that. So for example, this long one here, no side branches on it, I can cut this one maybe a bit harder, encourage some side branching. Other ones, like the ones facing inward facing branches, like this one here or down here, I might completely get rid of, just to make it look more natural and free up the space inside so you can see the branch structure a bit better. Otherwise I'll leave it, and as I say, I won't leave it till autumn, because then it kind of struggles to regrow, because up here in North Scotland it gets very dark in the winter, so I don't want to take too many leaves off for that period of time. There we are, that's my Ficus Benjamina Bonsai. As I say, it doesn't look its best at the moment because I've let it grow quite a lot, but in the long run that'll really help it out, and it'll make it look much more like a bonsai in the long run.